The deputy commissioner's voice, raw with fury, cracked over patrol car radio. "You have illegally detained a 4-star general. I repeat, do not touch the general." Officer Rourke's entire body went rigid with sickening, instant realization. He fumbled desperately at his belt, and the harsh metallic sound of his handcuffs dropped and clattered loudly onto the asphalt. A single, piercing alarm, the sound of a high-level government secure phone, blared right next to him. This was the crushing, catastrophic climax of his error. The sound of his authority shattering under the weight of a power he never knew existed. The morning sun slanted harshly off the glass facade of a residential street in Brooklyn, illuminating a scene of escalating tension. General Marcia Davies, a woman of dark complexion in a perfectly tailored civilian suit, was standing next to her high-end SUV, loading a duffel bag, a bag containing classified materials, into the trunk. The quiet routine was violently interrupted by the screech of tires and shrill, persistent sound of a police siren. Officer Thomas Rourke, accompanied by a rookie, jumped out of the squad car. His hand was already on his weapon. Hands in the air. "You are detained. Step away from the vehicle and assume the position. That vehicle is flagged as stolen, lady." The confrontational opening was shocking and based on a blatant, factually incorrect premise. The SUV was hers, purchased outright. The emotional tension was immediate, fueled by the terrifying speed of the accusation. General Davies was a victim silently hurt by the casual assumption of criminality and immediate escalation to physical threat. The clear injustice was that she was being detained for her own property. "Officer," General Davies stated, her posture straightening to its full, commanding height. "This is my vehicle. I have the registration and my license right here." She reached for her inner coat pocket with slow, deliberate movements. "Don't move. You just confirmed our suspicion of attempted flight." Rourke barked, leveling a flashlight beam directly into her eyes. The ominous hint of future reversal, faint but powerful, lingered in the room. The general's eyes, shielded by the flashlight beam, held the deep, cold concentration of a military strategist who had just identified a fatal weakness in her opponent. Officer Rourke, fueled by the adrenaline and the baseless confidence that the expensive SUV must belong to a profile criminal, was loud, arrogant, and insistent. He saw a wealthy black woman, and his prejudice dictated that the wealth must be ill-gotten. He completely disregarded the fact that the vehicle was parked directly in front of brownstone she owned. The plate was flagged. "That's all the probable cause I need." Rourke shouted at the gathering neighbors. "You're trying to use a stolen car for some kind of getaway. We know what you people do with cars like this." The discrimination was overt, laced with racial stereotyping. General Davies suffered emotionally. The humiliation was not just a potential arrest, but the public performance of her being stripped of all dignity in front of her neighbors and community. "Officer Rourke," she repeated, maintaining her steady, powerful voice, "you are making a grave mistake. Please call the vehicle identification number, VIN, into your dispatch before you proceed further. I am on an urgent, time-sensitive national security mission." Rourke laughed, the sound grating. "National security? Lady, you look like a soccer mom playing dress-up. Enough lies. You're going downtown." Silent strength added as Rourke moved to physically restrain her. General Davies did not pull away. Instead, she lowered her voice and, with intense, focused calm, made a minute, precise adjustment to the positioning of her duffel bag in the trunk, ensuring the fragile, secured satellite radio inside was perfectly vertical. This small, nonverbal act of dignity and kindness, protecting her mission's equipment despite her own peril, showed her profound professional commitment and proved she was acting not out of fear but duty. This solidified her earned right to the impending reversal. The tension surged as Officer Rourke forcefully grabbed General Davies' wrist, pulling her arm behind her back. "Stop resisting," he yelled, though she had offered no physical resistance. A low-status relative intervened immediately. General Davies' elderly neighbor, Mr. Henderson, a retired postal worker and a family friend who had seen Marcia grow up, ran out of his house. "Thomas Rourke, you leave that woman alone. She is a good woman. I saw her drive that car every day for 5 years. You've got the wrong person." Rourke, momentarily distracted, shoved Mr. Henderson back, turning his malice onto the neighbor. "Stay out of this, old man, or you're getting a disorderly charge." The rookie officer moved to hold the old man back. Rourke had silenced the low-status intervention, but the distraction created a gap. A high-status character, U.S. Attorney David Chun, who was jogging past Quiet Street after morning workout, slowed to a walk. He recognized the general, not from the military, but from a high-profile interagency meeting they had both attended months prior. He saw the aggressive Officer Rourke, the distressed general, and the elderly neighbor being manhandled. U.S. Attorney Chin started paying attention. Officer Rourke, oblivious to the federal attorney witnessing his actions, tightened the handcuffs around General Davies' wrists. Stolen car, resisting in threats. "Let's go." He pushed her toward the back of the squad car. The atmosphere had shifted from a mistaken identity stop to an overt public abuse of power being witnessed by a federal official. The steel of the handcuffs biting into her skin was a physical assault. General Davies was forced to bend her head to get into the back of the patrol car. The sheer audacity of the officer to detain a 4-star general, the deputy commander of Cyber Command, over a phantom stolen vehicle report was the essence of the escalating injustice. Inside the cramped, public space of the squad car, General Davies was trapped. Rourke slammed the door and returned to the driver's seat, feeling fully victorious. He had put the disrespectful black woman in her place. The general took a deep breath, focusing on the pain in her wrists and her quiet, cold fury. She was not only humiliated, but her mission, which required her to be at a secure facility in 20 minutes, was jeopardized. This detail was crucial for the $\text cinematic dollar element. The audience knew the stakes were higher than just a parking ticket. General Davies meticulously cataloged every single mistake Rourke had made. The failure to verify the VIN, the immediate assumption of guilt, the use of excessive force, the ignoring of her professional identity, and the blatant racial and gender prejudice. This inner fortitude and meticulous attention to detail were part of her silent strength. Rourke picked up his car radio mic, chuckling to his partner. "Dispatch! We're bringing in the perp on the stolen Mercedes plus resistance. Name is Marcia Davies. Says she's a national security expert." He spoke the last words with exaggerated, mocking air quotes. He reached for the general's coat pocket, fishing out her wallet and her separate, sealed military ID pouch, the one containing her 4-star credentials and her secure access key. Rourke opened the pouch. He saw the official seal and the rank. He paused. For a single, fleeting second, his confidence wavered. But the ingrained prejudice in his commitment to his own narrative, that this woman must be lying, overwhelmed the truth. "Nice fake. Very convincing. They're getting good at these," he scoffed, slamming the pouch shut and pocketing it. Identity theft added to charges. This final, deliberate dismissal of the truth was the absolute peak of the injustice phase. General Davies was now falsely charged with 2 felonies, locked in the back of a police car, and her identity was dismissed as a fabrication. Hello, everyone. As we continue today's video, we want to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. "All right, partner," Rourke said, starting the engine. "Let's roll. We got a fraudster." General Davies, trapped in the back, knew she was running out of time. Her mission was everything. She leaned forward, pushing her cuffed wrists against the heavy mesh screen. She looked Rourke directly in the rear-view mirror. "Officer Rourke," she said, her voice a deep whisper, utterly devoid of emotion. "You just committed a serious federal offense. The time for talk is over." She moved her cuffed hands, reaching with a pinky finger to press a small, nearly invisible satellite communication button, disguised as a cufflink on her blazer sleeve. A small green light flashed once. General Davies spoke 7 final words, quiet but powerful, into the sleeve. "This is Davies. Situation critical. Execute Protocol 7. Officer Rourke, oblivious to the high-level military protocol his detainee had just executed via a concealed communications device, scoffed. Protocol 7? What is at your coffee order, ma'am? He pulled away from the curb, a look of smug victory plastered on his face. The vehicle had traveled less than 2 blocks when the consequences of General Davies' call began to unfold. First, the secure phone device Rourke had left on his dashboard suddenly blared, receiving a priority alert. The voice on the other end was not a police dispatcher. It was sharp, military, and filled with barely contained fury. Police Vehicle 4, Sierra 21. Pull over immediately. You have detained General Davies. Repeat. Release the general now. Rourke slammed on the brakes, confusion replacing smugness. Who is this? This is a private police channel. Before the military voice could reply, Rourke's police radio burst to life. It wasn't the usual dispatcher. It was a voice Rourke recognized and immediately feared. Deputy Police Commissioner Robert Shaw. 4. Sierra 21. Stop and stand down. This is a direct order. Officer Thomas Rourke, you have illegally detained a 4-star general of the United States Army, Deputy Commander of Cybercom. Your actions have triggered a Level 1 federal incident. Do not move. I repeat, do not touch the general. The revelation was instantaneous and catastrophic. Rourke's mind, committed to the narrative of a simple thief, could not process the truth. The woman he had aggressively cuffed, dismissed with racial and gender slurs, and charged with multiple felonies, was a strategic military commander whose detention had just shut down a federal-level security operation. The underestimated person was revealed as immensely powerful. Rourke's confidence evaporated. His arrogance instantly collapsed. The rookie officer in the passenger seat stared straight ahead, his eyes wide with pure, sick terror. The wrongdoers went silent. Rourke could only manage a choking sound. Simultaneously, U.S. Attorney David Chun, who had been jogging and making calls down the street, arrived at the squad car, slamming his hand on the window. Officer Rourke, open this door. I am ordering you as a federal prosecutor to release General Davies immediately. The high-status witness, the federal attorney, provided the undeniable civilian confirmation of the general's rank, completing the total reversal of authority. Rourke was cornered by his chain of command, the military, and the Department of Justice, all within 90 seconds. Officer Rourke fumbled desperately for the door lock, his hands shaking so violently he couldn't grasp the mechanism. He was now weeping, not tears of regret, but tears of pure, career-ending panic. The deputy commissioner's voice was still screaming his name over the radio. U.S. Attorney Chin wrenched the back door open and immediately began working to release General Davies' hands from the tight cuffs. General Davies stepped out of the police vehicle, straightening her suit, her demeanor immediately snapping back to military perfection. She ignored Rourke entirely, the ultimate demonstration of his irrelevance. She looked directly at Chun. Mr. Attorney, I need to be transported to the secure facility, ETA 10 minutes. This is paramount. Rourke's public humiliation was absolute. He was standing in the middle of a New York street, stripped of his authority by his own commander and watched by a federal attorney, all because he chose bias over procedure. The audience witnessed a reversal as the community members who had gathered looked on with silent, fierce satisfaction. This was instant karma delivered by the very structure Rourke had been hiding behind. The deputy commissioner himself arrived 1 minute later, his personal cruiser squealing to a stop. He didn't even look at the general first. He walked straight to Rourke and ripped the officer's badge from his uniform. Thomas Rourke. The deputy commissioner's voice was low and savage. You are relieved of all duty, effective immediately. Your weapon, your key, and your uniform. Now, you detained a general, compromised a national security asset, and committed a battery of civil rights violations. You are done. Rourke stood utterly broken, his arrogance completely shattered. He slowly began to disarm himself, his humiliation magnified by the complete silence of the onlookers and the utter professional focus of the high-ranking officials around him. General Davies, now free of the handcuffs, rubbed her wrists, noting the red whilst the cuffs had left. She accepted a sterile wipe from U.S. Attorney Chun, and then turned her attention to the one person who deserved it, her elderly neighbor, Mr. Henderson, who was still standing nearby, shaking. General Davies walked over to the old man, took his hands, and pulled him into a warm, powerful embrace, a vital family connection moment. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Thank you for speaking up. Your courage means everything." The old man started to weep, relieved that his intervention had not been in vain. General Davies then turned back to the deputy commissioner, her face stern. "Commissioner Shaw, I am filing a full federal complaint against Rourke, and I expect an audit of the training that allowed a subordinate officer to so blatantly ignore a federal-level alert and act on blatant racial and gender prejudice." Her dignity was fully restored through her command presence and her demand for institutional accountability. Life improved for General Davies instantly. The danger was gone, her mission was back on track, and her authority was affirmed. For Officer Rourke, life shattered. He was led away by his own colleagues, silent, weeping, and facing total disgrace, his fate sealed by the prejudice he refused to check. General Davies took a moment to stand alone on the Brooklyn street, watching the taillights of the patrol car carrying Rourke disappear. She secured her emotional closure. She realized that Rourke's failure wasn't due to poor training alone. It was due to a willful, arrogant commitment to his own flawed perception. He had believed his bias more than the evidence, the uniform, or the possibility of error. That intentional blind spot was his undoing. General Davies walked over to her nephew, Kevin, who was still processing the whirlwind of events. She put a steadying hand on his shoulder. "Remember this, Kevin," she said, her voice soft but absolute. That man was defeated by a rule book he chose to ignore. The truth always has a higher rank than prejudice. Use your voice, just like Mr. Henderson did. That's the real power. Deep reflection. True authority isn't about the power you exert on the weak, but the power you possess to overturn injustice. Cruelty exposes itself when it attempts to stop a force far greater than itself. The calm ending was the sound of the General's SUV, now driven by a trusted aide, pulling away from the street, heading toward the secure facility. The sun shone down on the quiet residential neighborhood. Order restored. General Davies closed her eyes for a brief moment in the back seat, allowing a single private tear of exhaustion and relief to fall, confirming the depth of the inner struggle she had survived.